One of my personal favourite Star Citizen events is XenoThreat, a group of players working together across hauling and combat against hordes of AI, including some capital ship combat. And for the first time in a while, the most recent 3.23 revision has brought the return of the event for all to experience. But it's not all plain sailing. I'm Forrester, and this gameplay video shows an attempt to play some XenoThreat, taking out a fully gunned Hammerhead against enemy targets. Some parts have been sped up to keep the overall length of the video down, and those parts are clearly marked as such, but mostly this is a regular speed overview of gameplay. As a fair warning, not everything goes according to plan for this event, so let's get started. And we start our footage at ×12 speed, just heading in to join together. And most of these Star Citizen operations start in the same way, which is worrying about how you can get all of your players in one place, and this XenoThreat event was no different for our group, bringing the Hammerhead in to the Pyro Jump Point Gateway Station and getting everybody aboard to man the guns. Nice little external shot of the Hammerhead in dock as some of the guns start to twitch as players get aboard. And then jankily undock from the station, start heading out to get ready. So one of the reasons why I enjoy the XenoThreat event is it's a great opportunity to dig out the Hammerhead. There are a few situations where the Hammerhead is really well suited to what's going on, but one such of those situations is a large capital ship battle where there are lots of smaller fighters floating around to engage, and that's where the multiple turrets on the Hammerhead really come into their own, plus it's a fairly protected environment for that group of players. Next things next, just making sure that we're tracking the progress of the XenoThreat mission, just that it's obvious what the next phase is and if we need to be doing anything. Slightly speed up the footage as we pick up the last straggler aboard, sort out the party, and then we'll make our way across to the wreck site. Short quantum hop. And then quite often there's a little bit of a delay once you do arrive at the wreck site. I guess it's just lag, either client side or server side, getting used to just the scale of what's going on. But here we are, back into SCM mode as well. Really important for raising the shields. And this is one of those events where there is a player Idris as well as the AI Idris to contend with, so trying to take care not to target the players. One of the frustrations of the event this time around is that players do come up as red targets even when they're just peaceful players wanting to play the PvE game, so careful target management is really important. Thankfully the enemy Idris is marked as XenoThreat quite clearly in the target window, so it does become obvious that that's what to engage. Slightly chaotic battle with so many ships flying around, including that friendly Idris as well. Incidentally, the day when we can properly join these events with proper capital ships aboard, whether you're flying your own Polaris or Javelin or Idris, whatever it will be a very exciting day. I have lost a little bit of shields here, so try and just back away a little bit, give the shields the opportunity to regenerate. The natural sight line here on the Hammerhead doesn't quite include the shield display, but you do get a warning on the heads-up display when the shields are running low. So just sitting off some way while those shields regenerate, and trying to encourage the turret gunners to be very careful about choosing their targets. And then take another pass around the Idris. Taking care to attack from the back and stay well clear of that massive railgun. In case it's not obvious as well, this is from the pilot seat on the Hammerhead, which is probably the worst view in the house, but it's obviously not one of the gun turrets. You can see some of the gun turrets are firing though on that XenoThreat Idris. So I've got a decent amount of front shield there, but 15 out of the 25 points. Again, taking care not to sit in front of that Idris railgun. And the fighters doing what the fighters do best. As a general rule, if it's got two names on the target, it's got a good chance of being a XenoThreat target. Players tend to have more unusual handle-sounding names. So the front of the Hammerhead is a little bit rosy, but the shields are all up, so continuing the engagement as best we can. Trying to help with some of these fighter-sized targets, position the Hammerhead so that it can engage them well. Remembering it's the turret gunners that are doing that engagement rather than the pilot, so for the most part you want things just above the nose to have a great angle for all of the turrets. Or alternatively, have targets all around that the gunners have all got their own direction to fire in. Nice little external view there of some of the turrets firing. And she is a slow, lumbering beast, the Hammerhead. Not the most nimble of fighters. And I've just got a view there of the... looks like the damaged Javelin, so we're going to go and park up near it. Keep it safe. If you are newer to the channel, you might not yet know, but this is one of my favourite ships in the game, the Javelin. Absolutely beautiful, looking across and seeing that majestic capital ship destroyer. I think this is the point at which you do a a rousing speech for the crew to say we're doing some honourable work protecting this javelin as the turrets are blazing away, keeping the ship safe. I know it's dark and not the best lighting, but it does look pretty awesome. And then at this point, remembering that we have a job to do, and that enemy Idris is getting closer and closer. And it looks pretty awesome seeing all of that gunfire going in towards that enemy Idris. Once again, staying well out of range of that nose. The railgun right in the front of that ship is scary. Still got a good amount of shields left going on the Hammerhead. It does take a little bit of fire from time to time, but the shield's looking healthy. And there are lots of fighters to engage. And that's the Hammerhead's happy space, engaging some of those smaller XenoThreat fighters as something flies right into the nose of the ship. Let's see the back of that XenoThreat Idris. Nice side profile. And when as a pilot, when I see that happening where it's starting to turn, I just close the distance to make sure that I'm not in front of that railgun, because that's the worst place to be. Still got a good amount of shields as we're parked up behind the Idris. You can see actually that its rear hangar bay door is now forced open.
Shields under fire.
Still got green shields there, looking healthy. Moving below the ship. And then the Hammerhead has exploded inexplicably. This is one of the challenges of the event right now. As it turns out, the Idris has got, like, I think there's just one, but there's one ridiculously overpowered turret where it just does crazy DPS, so it just absolutely nuked us down with, well, as you saw, little to no warning. But we're back out through the magic of video editing, and this time I'm in a gun turret rather than the pilot's chair, so something slightly different to watch. The default loadout for these turrets are 4 Rhino repeaters with considerable capacitors, so you can imagine as an anti-fighter platform that's a pretty incredible piece of gunnery. And there are 6 of these turrets located around the ship at different points, so for dealing with small fighters, you could do far worse than bringing a Hammerhead with you. I did debate whether or not to speed up this footage on the way in, but I thought actually we'll keep it in as is, because it kind of shows the true XenoThreat experience, where there's as much waiting around and slow time as there is fast time. And these ships are destroyed, but just to tidy up the battlefield a little bit, just destroying the wrecks of the ships makes target management a little bit easier. Now obviously a lot of these are player ships as well, so Lord Cheddar Stark is a player, I think it was a constellation. Ideally that means you don't engage them, but equally sometimes they engage you, and it's difficult to know whether they're doing that by accident or intentionally under a thinly guised reason of saying they're role-playing or something like that. So when you're in the turrets, you've got to avoid shooting players that aren't engaging you, even if they appear as red, but you've also got to be wary of the players that do want to engage you. Because, I don't know, they find Jump Town boring or something.
You are clear to launch. You are clear to launch.
Just trying to find some good angles for engaging with this turret. Seem to have been favouring the starboard side turrets there. See a good kill behind us. Then also just trying to communicate with the rest of the crew and figure out where the targets are and what needs engaging and what's crossing from one side of the ship to the other that we need to be able to pick up. Quite often we find that a lot more people I think engage in the combat side of XenoThreat than perhaps the box movement side. So in hindsight that would have been a good use for this crew, but you never know until you fly in what people are going to be doing. And there are some challenges with the box movement side of things as well. Trying to switch targets to pick up the one that's in front of the ship. Or off to the side. Most of my keybinds are optimized towards flying the ship rather than being in the turret, so it's a different set of learning to be done. Either way, that arrow is not doing the best. Quite satisfying watching that ship kind of vanish in front of your eyes. Bit of a grand melee going on here. If somebody decides to engage that person, hopefully it was the right decision. I should mention, as well as the Hammerhead here, we've also got another couple of players out in solo ships that are helping to tidy things up as we go along. But again, the Hammerhead is looking healthy, still got full shields. Nothing really very red this time. So the battle is going well. Now this sort of experience is a little bit bittersweet for me because it's kind of a mix of the excitement of engaging in this kind of combat, which is pretty awesome there, just taking down a vanguard, but also the server performance is not the most helpful. So it's kind of, this is what the future could look like, but also this is what the future could look like at the same time. It could be great or it could be problematic. Now it looks like that vanguard is engaging the ship, so we'll give him a blast back to say stop it. And he's not taking the hint. The missile coming in. Very satisfying call out of kill from the computer. And the downside of the noise chaff is that you lose all your targeting information. Trying to focus down this mantis. Down. And an arrow. Yeah, turret fighting can be pretty fun. As long as you've got a powerful enough turret and there are things around you to shoot at, it's definitely not the worst.
Thank you. Please visit again.
I'm not quite sure how long the XenoThreat event is going to last for on the servers, but if you would like to see more XenoThreat, or maybe the cargo side of things, then do let me know in the comments. As I said before, this is one of my favourite events in the game, so I'm quite happy to spend plenty of time doing XenoThreat.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
And I'm not sure what landing complete have a pleasant stay is doing in this battle, but never mind. Hammerhead, still looking very healthy, shields are all up. Nothing red. More missiles on the way in. And that mantis. One of the things I think is a bit of a shame is that when you zero the turrets in this ship, so you return them to their center position, they're just facing outwards. I would quite like it if actually bringing the turrets brought them into like their optimal position for every person, because I think that makes things a little bit easier for a pilot then to say this is the place where I want to keep the enemy targets. But maybe that's wishful thinking.
Can you get me in game if I speak?
Just overheard somebody saying, "Can you hear me in the game?" I think the answer was yes. Floating past some of the actual cargo operations taking place. I don't know that that's that's a necessary target for that turret to engage, but never mind. Seems that most of the combat here seems to be under control. Shields are all up aboard the Hammerhead. Nothing is red. Watching fighters floating past the ship and getting absolutely decimated. Living the glorious Hammerhead life. Knock out an anvil arrow. So now the back of the ship is a little bit red, but the shields are all up. In case you watch this and you wonder why I sometimes have to stop engaging, it's just because the turret gets to its gimbal limit, so it can't move any further round, so it's for other turrets to pick up the target. And just to be ready in case it comes back within the cone of fire of the turret. So that vanguard, for example, is outside of the field of view of this turret. But once again, Hammerhead is still very healthy. A little bit of red at the back, but the shields are up at full strength. And then the ship explodes. Cannot explain it some of the time. I can't explain it, but hopefully you found it interesting to see some gameplay that didn't quite go according to plan. If so, you might press the like button to let me know I should make more like this, and if you're not yet subscribed, given that you got this far, you might want to do that too. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.